What's going on, guys? So welcome again and welcome back to these practical tactics. So what I'm officially calling it now, my practical tactics. Now what these are, again, is to just give you guys some generalization, some normalization, and then of course some exercises to help you guys develop this specific thing. And so what we're developing in this specific instance is gratitude. And the way to develop gratitude and become more aware of your mental health in general is to develop the right mindset. And so in order to develop the right mindset, we've got to understand what mindset is and how many and the different kinds that there are, because I didn't even know that there was two kinds. I used to start with a really fixed mindset. And again, I didn't know what these were before, but I felt like so many other people were just kind of growing and I was sitting there shrinking all the time. I felt like I was more focused on the limitations that were in front of me and not the opportunities. It took a while to really start to see opportunities, and I felt like I would never really be proud of myself because I would always kind of be second best. I didn't feel like I could be the best at something. I didn't feel like I could be the champion, or like I could win that ring, or like I could win that trophy. And so I always had a limited mindset about everything in life. I never thought that I'd even be a good dad or a husband, or even someone that knows who they are, enough to be able to say that I am aware within myself and I know who I am and what I stand for. I always believed that things would never change until I figured out how to develop a growth mindset. And when I learned what that was, that's when I was able to set a wedding date, even propose at that, write a book and completely almost finish it to the point where it's over halfway done. And then hopefully release it in June, sometime in June. And then I started a podcast about a year ago. And now I'm developing this little transformation thing and this guide to help you guys on YouTube. And the only reason why I started this and the only reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I just feel like I'm in spirit enough to do it. So I do it. I don't think twice about it. I don't think about if it's the right or wrong thing because I trust myself. I trust in myself. But all of the inflictions on myself started off with, the same things that I talked about last video, is the doubts, the self-talk, the self-worth, the self-belief, the ultimately leading me to self-sabotage. Like, all of these things kind of added on and compounded and drastically affected my ability to see things in a different perspective, which is what I'm going to go into in the next video from this, which is cultivating that perspective. But first, to just learn about the growth and the fixed mindset. Now, I used to basically have a lot of guilt and worry, and now I'm more so able to focus on my potential. And so a few things that I was able to do in order to cultivate the mindset and go from fixed to growth was, in fact, realizing that everybody does something bad the first time and then trying to do things first with the intention of getting better and not necessarily becoming great. So it wasn't until I realized that the more things I try, and the more things, I'm going to suck at, but the more things that I love sucking at that moment, because I feel more myself in those moments, that's what I need to chase. And the moment I started chasing that, the more I started to see opportunity, the more I started to lessen the amount of limitations that I saw for myself, because then I slowly but surely started to keep promises in those areas. So I was building up more self-confidence, building up more self-belief within myself, and being able to carry on bigger things or bigger endeavors or things that I was normally afraid to do. Because again, I developed that growth mindset. Instead of thinking that I can't do this, I reformed my belief system, and I thought, you know what, like, why can't I do this? Like, who's preventing me from doing this? Who's saying that I can't do this, And then try your best no matter what, and begin to form competition with yesterday's self. So don't compare yourself with, anybody else's life, because the fact of the matter is we don't have context. And so that was one thing that I was doing too. And that's limiting your potential as well, because if you're looking at people who, for example, have less than you, you're almost limiting yourself because you're boosting your ego. So in turn, that's not very sustainable. And then if it's flip-flopped and you're basically, envious of a lot of people, you're still limiting yourself because the majority of the time you're falsifying the outcome, and you're predicating your stage 1 on their stage 15, and that is something that's not sustainable either. So you really got to develop the growth part of this, and you've got to develop your ability and your capacity of knowing exactly what is coming up at what time. So it's hard because sometimes you really believe things are limited, but that in itself is having that sort of mindset. So if you're the type of person that takes challenge and gets discouraged, you need to flip-flop that, and you need to get encouraged by the challenge. So if things are getting harder in your life, start accepting those challenges and start just taking the accountability, which is what I'm going to go over in the next after the perspective video. And all this is stuff I'm going to go over, but in order to develop that sense of accountability and become one that is going to attack the problem and not be defensive of it, then that's when you can really start to get into this growth mindset, because you'll start to see opportunity and start to take advantage of opportunity, even if you think it's going to end up as a total failure. And then just building confidence by keeping promises to yourself, like I was saying, and start exposing yourself to stories and people that truly inspire you. For me, this was YouTube. I use YouTube a lot, and I actually looked up what growth and fixed mindsets were. I looked up how to cultivate a good mindset, and growth and fixed mindsets, abundance mindset, all these things, all these terms, it's the same thing. And you can either have either or. You can't have both. And if you do have both, and you're that contemplated and you're that like back and forth, then you're just going in this spiral effect and you're not really moving in any direction, which in turn is negatively compounding you and your future. And then going back to the first exercise, not necessarily becoming great. Don't do any of this stuff to try to become great. Don't do the things that you love to try to become great. Do the things that you love to try to get better. Because when you do it with the sense of trying to get better and you still love that process, and there's no outcome tied to it, then whatever happens is going to happen. You're enjoying yourself in the moment. And that's what's important, is enjoying yourself in the moment, because all the opportunities and doors that can open in those moments and from those moments is what's important. It's not necessarily like this crazy end goal. It's what's happening in between. Those nuances are what shape you, and those nuances are what going to get you to the end goal that, again, is not usually what we expect. It's something that's totally different. So with that being said, just to kind of go over these exercises real quick to cultivate a growth mindset and not have a fixed mindset, you need to realize that everybody does something bad the first time and try to do things first with the intention of getting better, not becoming great. Okay, so it's all about intention. Try your best no matter what, and begin to form competition with yesterday's self, not future self, not, other people. Your yesterday's self, specifically yesterday's self. Gratitude for today, momentum for tomorrow. You have to use yesterday's self to do that. Yesterday's decisions are always going to compound in the future. Build confidence by keeping promises to yourself, and start exposing yourself to stories and people that truly inspire you. So right now, once you finish this video, go to YouTube, look up mindset, look up creating a good mindset, look up cultivating mindset. Find a few TED Talks. Find a few case studies. There's a few case studies of these exact things that I'm telling you right now. And they're also in my book as well. And so, yeah, just wanted to kind of give you guys that. So if you guys took anything from this, be sure to let me know. Comment below. Like the video. Share it, please, if you guys took anything from it. I hope you guys are able to create this growth mindset and abundance for yourself, because it truly will open the doors for more gratitude. So we'll go over perspective in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to follow me on all social media, smartineziv.com. Jeez, smartineziv. Don't forget to tune into the podcast as well. PRI Podcast, all major platforms, every Monday, 7 a.m., every Friday, 7 a.m. Trying to do that with the interviews. So good vibes, guys. Hope you guys have a good one. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.